Did you ever wish you had someone to tell you the truth about what it takes to run a successful business and live a fulfilling life? Well, my friend, you've come to the right place. So grab your favorite caffeinated jolt or cocktail and your courage and get ready to get to work. I'm Janessa Borges, a therapist, mindset coach for entrepreneurs, and a feisty Latina from Miami. I've been referred to as a trailblazing powerhouse with relentless energy and outside-the-box ideas. And I'm determined to teach you the exact tools you need to stop settling and start kicking some serious derriere. What do you say? Are you in? Then let's get started. Welcome to the Success Mindset for Entrepreneurs podcast. I feel invisible. I'm not sure which social media platform I should choose to grow. I'm on all of the social media platforms and nothing is working. What does everyone know that I don't? Does this sound like you? Because it used to be me. In this episode, I will be spilling the truth about what it takes to gain visibility and success in your business. What is the best strategy for visibility? Let's go through all of our options first. Having a blog, having an Instagram account, having a website, tapping into the SEO on the website, having a Facebook page, having a Facebook group, being on Pinterest, having a LinkedIn profile, being on Clubhouse, hosting a Clubhouse room, joining a Clubhouse room, tweeting, having a newsletter, running Facebook ads, running Google ads, having a podcast. The list is completely endless. Since I started and launched this podcast, I've been receiving questions though. So I wanted to address that first before we move on. One of the main questions that I've been receiving is, what exactly made you decide to start a podcast when you hadn't done one before? What is it that you changed? And somebody wrote and told me, I'm also trying everything right now to build an audience, and I am so feeling you on this. And my answer to her was, I looked at everything that I was doing. I dove down and looked at one goal. I knew that I wanted to do something that felt authentic and genuine. The one thing I hadn't done was to podcast. Of all the things, this is what feels most comfortable. I listen, talk, guide, and coach all day, every day. I took everything else off the table and I'm focusing on this, and it feels so good. I actually did an entire episode on it. So double down, search deep, and decide what works best for you. As she asked me this question, I said, you know what? I'm going to dedicate an entire podcast episode on this topic alone. The truth is, I can talk all day. I do that already. I'm a therapist, and I just never thought about it. I knew that I always had something to share with others, and I always knew that I had something to say. I used to be on the newspaper in school. At one point, I was the school editor. And nothing felt more fulfilling than to pull all my thoughts and opinions, put them on paper, and then have other read the words that were in my heart. It just blew me away. And hear the words I said again, not the words that were in my mind, the words that were in my heart. To give you a little history about me, if you don't know yet, I come from a really long line of proud intellectual Cubans. If you know anything about Cuba, you may have heard that the oppression that's manifested and consumed the beautiful souls on the island, how they've been censored, persecuted, and silenced completely since 1959 when communism took over. In reflecting, perhaps part of it subconsciously is to break through the layers of suppression for my people, for my family. Perhaps it's just in my blood, in my DNA. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know that podcasting for me is a way to reach others, to help them, to inspire them, to motivate, to instill hope, and to reach people all around the world. I've had my podcast up for less than a month, and within 4 days of launching it, it's been downloaded all around the world in places I've never been to or ever imagined I can reach. We're talking New Zealand, Australia, London, Canada, all over states, all over the US. It's been so incredibly moving. My greatest regret, to be honest with all of you, is not doing it sooner. My greatest regret is listening to others who told me it would be so much work, that it was just too much, that it wasn't sustainable, that you have no idea what it takes. And you know what? I didn't know what it takes. And my greatest regret, again, is not doing it sooner. Of everything that I've done, and I've done it all, by the way, this is what's felt more natural to me. I've always had a voice, and now I have a mic and a platform. More than that, I've created this platform because I'm determined to highlight other incredible human beings that are doing so many amazing things. It fuels my soul. If there could be a picture, an image of my heart, it literally bursts every time I record one of the episodes, because I know that when you're listening to this, you're meant to hear it. And there are things that are going to move you and inspire you. And that is my complete desire for this entire process. Now we're going to review the strategies for visibility one more time. I'm going to go through one by one with my personal experience. So this is not to say that it works for everybody. It's not to say that it'll be your experience, but this is what I felt like. So when I was blogging, we'll start there. I was writing, which I'm really good at. Like I said, I used to be a writer and an editor, and I have no problems, as you can hear, complimenting myself for taking that compliment. So I started blogging, and it was nice. It went on my website. Great. Didn't know if you don't have traction on your website, nobody can read your blog. Then Instagram, taking pictures. I have mixed feelings on this. So I have my partner, my husband is very private. So a lot of my life that I would be taking images of anyway are my children and my family and personal moments. And in order to respect him, but still honor my growth and my creativity, Instagram's been really challenging for me, because a lot of the moments that I would normally take pictures of and share, he's not comfortable with me sharing. And it's not a control thing. And you'll see if you're in a relationship, it's about looking at what most matters to me, and that's my family and the respect of my husband, insofar as respecting his wishes, and the same way that he needs to respect, and he does respect, my ventures and my creativity and my entrepreneurship and all the things that drive him nuts that he loves about me eventually, even though he might hate to admit it. I respect the fact that our family is private. So again, Instagram was really hard. I'm still on it. But again, that also goes through followers and how to receive followers. And listen, if any of you guys doing any of those follow trains, like the follow for follows, I'm going to tell you now, don't waste your time. That is not authentic. It's not genuine. Those people aren't following you. They're not looking at you. There might be a small portion, but they're not your people. So why would you want people that you're trying to connect with that are not your people on your Instagram account anyway? Again, I didn't realize that till later. That's my 2 cents. Having a website. I love my website. I love my graphic designer. We're tweaking it. There's always something new on it. Right now, you have all my podcast episodes in there. If I'm ever sharing any freebies, it's there. My digital course is there. My services I offer are there. Websites are great. Websites also go through SEO. A lot of people have websites, a lot of people don't. So having a website, I believe, is important and critical for visibility, because people do search and Google. So I think it is important. But again, I didn't feel like it was the best way to connect with others completely. I still have my website. I still love it. It's always in creation mode, and I'm obsessed with it. SEO. SEO is something that I'm still learning about. SEO is a creature in itself, and I will leave that to my right hand, and I'll have her, we'll discuss that in an upcoming episode. So SEO is search engine optimization, and it has to do with the back end of websites and keywords and words you use and words that people connect with. It's helpful, but if you're not aware of how it works, or you're not utilizing it to the best of your ability, it just doesn't work the best for you. Having a Facebook page, that's great. Again, you need followers or people to find you. A Facebook group, great to connect with people if they are your people and if they are in your group to genuinely connect with you. I've started different groups. Some of them are okay. Even whether I'm consistent or not, people usually and sadly are in there for a reason. And so far, the people that have jumped into my groups, not all of them, but a lot of them, come in there just to be able to promote themselves. So essentially, then I created a platform for other people to advertise themselves. And I'm all about sharing other people. I'm all about supporting other people. But that was the sole purpose in them joining. So they're not my people. Pinterest, I love Pinterest. I'm obsessed with Pinterest. I'm in there all day long when it comes to, not all day long, but I'm in there all the time when it comes to recipes or crafts or decoration. I mean, I use Pinterest when I'm planning retreats and events and baby showers and my wedding and decorating rooms. I love Pinterest. For Pinterest, I think it's really good if you have something to say, if you have an image, if you have a motivational quote. It depends on your business. For me, Pinterest never really took off, but I love Pinterest. So it really depends on your business. LinkedIn, it took forever for me to get on LinkedIn. I have an incredible cousin by marriage. Her name is Lily, and she herself is a marketer. And when I moved to Florida and started working on my visibility for my practice and my business, she said, Jan, you need to have a LinkedIn account. So I finally went into LinkedIn. I have an account. I post, but in all honesty, I know it's a great platform for many people. Again, I'm just sharing my personal tidbits, and I don't know if this is your experience, but just want to give you a heads up in case it is. LinkedIn, I am flooded with different kinds of spam from people that think that I need help looking for clients, that are trying to recruit me or sell me a product or sell me a course or sell me a service or convince me to work with them. And again, it's not genuine. It's just people spamming me on LinkedIn. So I don't find it comfortable. I have my profile for myself. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't work for everybody. This is my experience. Next is Clubhouse. And I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on here, but I'm going to say it anyway. Clubhouse, I think, is a great platform in order to connect with others. For me, it's not my favorite place for visibility because I really feel that unless somebody has a following or a big group, and again, it goes back to authentic connections, it's really hard to be seen or connect with others. I've jumped into a few rooms that had interesting titles, and the vibe in there, I'll say, or the people weren't my people to connect with. It didn't feel aligned with me. I've co-hosted a few times. I've opened up my own groups in Clubhouse, club rooms, whatever you call them. I think it's a great possibility for the future. I think if you're somebody who's known or has a big audience, it's a great way to have people listen to you and make an assessment. But for me, and I heard one of my mentors say this in the beginning when it started, Clubhouse is great as an extra little sprinkle. But for me, if I was going to spend my time to share information, to value my work, to value the resources I'm sharing with others, once that room is closed, that's it, it's done. If I can share and provide and create inspiration with all of you and for you, and it lives on for eternity, the same way this episode will live, I think that there's so much more value in the podcast personally than going into a Clubhouse room. Again, I am not judging, I am not criticizing. If you love it, I love that you love it. It wasn't for me. Twitter, I don't know why I could never get behind Twitter. And not that I don't like it, but I'm not a big tweeter. So I think it's a great resource for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that are on Twitter often. Again, this is not to say that I don't have things set up where it automatically posts on Twitter. I think it's a good resource. I just never learned how to properly navigate it, and I didn't feel like it was good and authentic for me or that my people were on Twitter. Having a newsletter syncs in very much with having a website and a blog and SEO, search engine optimization. So I do have a newsletter and I send that out. But here's the reality. Again, people join your email list for a reason. Oftentimes when they get what they receive, they don't open anymore. So newsletters have a low open rate if they're not your people. So I definitely find huge value in an email list. I've learned this the hard way after many, many years. Connecting with people genuinely, if they are your people and they connect with you, I love newsletter. I will never give up my email list. So I do use it, but what I do now is I multi-purpose it, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a little bit. Facebook ads, I can never figure out, and you'll learn from me that I am all about delegating. So I delegate, and delegate. And one of the things I do delegate are my ads. I've tried Facebook ads a couple of times. I know there's a rhythm to it, but because I have promised myself to focus and really narrow down on one goal at a time and perfecting that insofar as what makes me happy in success and in accomplishing certain things, I'm not ready for Facebook ads yet. And I'm okay with that. Google ads I use for my practice. I like them, but again, it's It's good because people Google all the time, but it's not necessarily a visibility platform completely insofar as interaction. So I do use Google Ads. I like them, but I was really focusing this episode on other ways and strategies for visibility that were more interactive. The one thing that I will say is none of this matters unless you know your ICA and that you know them so well that you're showing up where they are and connecting with them in a way that resonates for them. So I'm going to come back to me for a second. Your ICA, if you don't know what it is, I will be sharing soon, but it is an ideal customer avatar. I've created an exercise I'll share in the future. It's critical that you know who that is. If you have an ICA and you don't know who that is, or you have a bunch of them, or it's very general, then you don't know your ICA. I'm sorry to break it to you. You need to know them so well that you know that where they're spending time and you know how they are listening. So I'm going to give you an example. If your ICA, when you're able to connect with them, is a busy mom or a busy new mom who's up in the middle of the night, maybe with a baby who is feeding every few hours, or they're breastfeeding, or a colicky baby or a sick baby, and they're tired and they're exhausted, reading a blog at that time is not going to be helpful for them. My suggestion would be, if that's your ICA, something audio. So I actually created a guide for moms, and it's all about new moms and tips and self-care and what to do and the help and guidance that you need and how to find support. And what I've done since then is I translated that guide, which is digital, it's paper, it's electronic. I translated that into an audio version so the moms can just plug it in their ear and hear it. And the same goes with this podcast, which is why I love it. I love to consume podcasts when I'm driving to and from work, where I'm cooking, when I'm folding laundry, when I'm driving. That's my favorite time. So for me, if I could consume podcasts and it helped me so very much, then I thought that it was a great way for other people who were just like me to also consume information. What I need you to understand is you have to know who your ICA, you have to connect with them, you have to show up, you have to be authentic, you have to be genuine, and you have to give a shit. There's no other nice way of saying it. You can't just do all of these things and not care and do it selfishly for you. This podcast is for me, but it's more for everybody who's listening to it than for me. It gives me a voice, but it helps me inspire others. You're not purchasing anything from me. You're not paying to listen to this. I am doing this because I want to connect with you. I am showing up. This is as real as it gets. I'm being authentic. I'm being genuine, and I care. I care about what you do with this information. I care that you're looking for help. I care that you're looking for answers and resources and insight. I care. And that's why this, for me, has been the most fulfilling platform, this podcast. If I can bottle up my energy and my voice and my inspiration and everything that I teach others on a daily, that I teach, that people pay to hear, if I can bottle that, this is it. It's in here. You're listening to it right now. You have to be you. I want you to show up in whatever platform you decide works best for you, or it works best for your ICA. And I want you to show up with passion and show up with love and be natural and be genuine. Which one of these options that we've gone through, which one would you do and could you do, even when it's hard, even when you don't have time? What could you do consistently? Which one can you commit to? So far we've discovered and we've talked about the different options there are, where your ICA is, who your ICA is, and what feels the best for you. So if your ICA is listening to you on audio, if you're not showing up consistently, if you're not being authentic, it doesn't matter that you have the right platform. So I need to explain that to you too. You may have the perfect platform for you, but if you're not being consistent, if you're not showing up authentically for the people that you want to connect with, it's not going to work. You have to realize that, and you have to commit. You cannot start a podcast and you can't start a newsletter or you can't start a blog and then disappear for 3 weeks or a few months and then come back to them. That's not commitment. That's not consistency. The difference between those that fail and those that succeed are the ones that don't quit. So many people start so many things and then they just give up because it's too hard, because it's not working, because they don't have time, because it's not worth it. You need to figure out which method that I've gone over works best for you and which one do you have the time to commit to. And when I say time, I don't mean you have the time. I mean, you'll make the time no matter what. No matter if you're recording or doing whatever you're doing in the middle of the night when everybody else is sleeping, if it's in the middle of the night before everybody else wakes up, what are you going to commit to doing? And make yourself that promise and make that promise to the people that start investing in you emotionally. Okay. Oh my goodness. That was a very long, pep talk, right? So I, of course, have something for you. It's a little bit less of a assignment and more of a valuable tool. So I want you to visit janmarietlc.com/6 because I am going to share with you my absolute favorite resource so you can tap into your strengths and show up the way you need to show up for the people that are waiting to hear from you in the most authentic way possible. I am sending you so much love and thank you so much for inspiring me to answer this question for you. And as you heard and as you know, my favorite absolute platform that works for me and my people and that I will never give up is my podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to me as much as I've enjoyed recording it for you. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited you tuned in. The best way to find out the second a new episode is released and receive all the valuable tools and actionable steps I share is to subscribe to the podcast. So make sure you do that. If there are any topics you'd like addressed, or if you have any burning questions you want answered, visit janmarietlc.com/podcast. And make sure to share this with any other entrepreneur friends that you know can benefit from learning the mindset it takes to create a business and life they truly love. And last but definitely not least, I would love your feedback. So leave a review and I'll make sure to share that love on a future podcast episode. Sending you so much love. Until next time.